The galaxy had seen countless wonders: the birth of stars, the fall of empires, the rise and fall of the Jedi Order across millennia. But it had never seen anything quite like this. A tear in reality itself ripped through the fabric of hyperspace above Coruscant, the Republic capital. Not a natural phenomenon, not a weapon, but something else entirely. A wound between universes. Through that wound came two figures, tumbling through impossible dimensions, their bodies wreathed in crackling energy that didn't belong to this galaxy. Peter Parker's spider sense was screaming. Not the usual tingle of danger, but a full-blown alarm that felt like his skull was being compressed. One moment he'd been in New York, helping the Avengers contain a rift caused by some interdimensional crisis involving Doctor Strange. The next, he was falling through a kaleidoscope of colors and sensations that made no sense. Beside him, he glimpsed Victor Stone, Cyborg, his cybernetic components sparking and flickering as they were dragged through the same maelstrom. "Vic, can you stabilize us?" Peter shouted, though sound shouldn't have worked in whatever space this was. "Mother Box is going haywire," Cyborg's voice crackled through his speakers. "I can't. Wait. I'm detecting solid space ahead. Brace yourself." They exploded out of hyperspace and into real space with a sonic boom that shattered windows across 5 city levels. Peter's web shooters fired instinctively, catching a passing speeder to arrest his fall. Cyborg's jets kicked in, sputtering, inconsistent, but enough to slow his descent. They crashed onto a landing platform on Coruscant's 3004th level, scattering a group of alien merchants who fled screaming in a dozen languages. Peter groaned, pulling himself up. His suit was intact, but his head felt like he'd been hit by the Hulk. "Okay, that was new. Vic, you good?" Cyborg's eye glowed red as diagnostics ran across his display. "Define good. My systems are reading 85% functionality. Mother Box technology isn't interfacing properly with wherever we are. Pete, where are we?" Peter looked up and his breath caught. Towers stretched impossibly high, disappearing into clouds lit by millions of lights. Speeders, actual flying vehicles, zipped through traffic lanes in the sky. In the distance, a massive temple with 5 spires dominated the skyline, and beyond that, he could see the curve of the planet against the stars. Not Earth's stars. These constellations were completely alien. "Not Kansas anymore," Peter muttered. His spider sense was still buzzing, but differently now. Like static interference, a constant background hum that made it hard to pick out actual threats. This is incredible and terrifying. Mostly terrifying. Before Cyborg could respond, a sleek ship descended toward their platform. It was unlike anything from their universes, elegant, curved, with a cockpit bubble and twin engines that hummed with energy. The side hatch opened and armored figures emerged. Not quite soldiers, not quite police. They wore white armor with orange markings, carrying weapons that looked like advanced rifles, but with glowing components. "Halt! Identify yourselves!" The lead trooper's voice was filtered through his helmet, but there was something odd about it. Like all their voices were similar. Almost identical. Peter raised his hands slowly. "Hey, easy there. We're not looking for trouble. We're, really lost. Like, really lost. Scan them," the commander ordered. One trooper stepped forward with a device that projected a blue grid over the heroes. The trooper's helmet tilted. "Sir, readings are impossible. Their technology doesn't match any known signature in Republic databases. The cybernetics composition includes elements that shouldn't exist." "We're from out of town," Cyborg said carefully, his systems analyzing the troopers. His sensors were picking up something strange. These soldiers were clones, genetically identical, grown for combat. The realization sent a chill through his circuits. Way out of town. We didn't mean to crash your party. Dimensional accident. The commander's weapon didn't lower. You'll need to come with us. Republic intelligence will want to speak with you. By order of the Coruscant Guard, you're being detained for questioning. Peter and Cyborg exchanged glances. They could fight, probably win against these troops, but that would make them enemies in a world they didn't understand. Peter's Uncle Ben's words echoed in his mind. With great power comes great responsibility. Starting a fight wasn't responsible. We'll cooperate, Peter said. But can someone please explain where we are? Because unless Earth got a serious upgrade, I'm thinking we're not in our universe anymore. The commander's helmet turned toward the Jedi Temple in the distance. You're on Coruscant, capital of the Galactic Republic. And if you're telling the truth about being from another universe, he paused. The Jedi Council will definitely want to meet you. As they were escorted onto the ship, Peter's spider sense continued its strange buzzing. Something about this place felt alive in a way he'd never experienced. Energy permeated everything, like an invisible ocean they were swimming through. He caught Cyborg's eye, and his friend's expression mirrored his own concern. They'd faced alien invasions, cosmic threats, and reality-warping villains. But this galaxy felt different, bigger, older, and they had no idea if they were about to become its newest heroes or its latest victims. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The ship lifted off, carrying them toward the heart of the Republic, while across the galaxy, sensors registered their arrival. In the shadows of the Senate, a hooded figure smiled. On a separatist command ship, Count Dooku's meditation was interrupted by a disturbance he couldn't quite identify. And in the Force itself, ripples spread outward from two souls that shouldn't exist in this reality. The Clone Wars had just become infinitely more complicated. The Jedi Temple was magnificent and overwhelming in equal measure. As Peter and Cyborg were escorted through its halls by clone troopers and a stern Jedi Knight with a purple lightsaber clipped to his belt, Peter couldn't stop craning his neck to take it all in. The architecture was ancient, yet pristine, all sweeping lines and meditation gardens visible through transparent steel windows. Beings of dozens of species walked the corridors, some humanoid, others decidedly not, all wearing similar robes in shades of brown and tan. "Stop gawking," Cyborg muttered, though his own sensors were working overtime, cataloging everything. "We need to figure out how to get home." "I'm not gawking, I'm observing," Peter whispered back. "There's a difference. Also, did you notice everyone here has swords made of laser? Because I noticed that. That's like 70 different kinds of cool and terrifying." The Jedi Knight, who'd introduced himself as Mace Windu, a master on the Jedi Council, glanced back at them with an unreadable expression. "Your arrival caused quite a disturbance. Not just the physical damage to the platform, but something else. Something in the Force." The Force? Cyborg's database was already running searches through the limited data his systems had managed to pull from local networks during their brief time in custody. "Some kind of energy field. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together," Mace said, then stopped at a large circular door. "The Council will explain more, or try to. Your very existence here defies several laws we thought were absolute." The doors opened, revealing a circular chamber with tall windows offering a panoramic view of Coruscant's skyline. 12 chairs were arranged in a circle, most of them occupied by more Jedi. Peter's spider sense buzzed louder in this room, that strange static interference intensifying. These people radiated something his sixth sense was struggling to interpret. A small green alien with pointed ears sat in one of the chairs. his eyes ancient and knowing. When he spoke, his voice was raspy but carried absolute authority. "Welcome, travelers from beyond. We do. Master Yoda, I am. Strange in the Force, you are. Existing here, you should not." Peter almost laughed at the backward speech pattern, but caught himself. The little guy's eyes pinned him with a gaze that felt like it was reading his soul. Hi. Spider-Man. This is Cyborg. We're pretty sure we shouldn't be here either. Dimensional accident. One minute we're in our universe, next we're falling onto your planet." A bearded human Jedi leaned forward. "I am Obi-Wan Kenobi. Master Yoda is correct. Your presence in the Force is unlike anything we've encountered. You exist here, we can sense that much, but it's as if you're out of phase with reality itself." Cyborg stepped forward, his more analytical nature taking over. "Let me see if I understand. This Force you keep mentioning, it's some kind of energy field that connects all living things in your galaxy." "More than energy," said a female Togruta Jedi with distinctive headtails and facial markings. "The Force is life itself. It has a will, a balance, light and dark. Your arrival has disrupted that balance in ways we're still trying to understand." "Great," Peter muttered. "We didn't just crash a party, we crashed the cosmic balance. That's new even for me." Mace Windu's expression remained stern. "Your technology is unlike anything in our databases. The cybernetics composition includes materials that shouldn't be possible, and your biology," he gestured to Peter, "shows genetic markers that suggest artificial enhancement, yet different from anything we've seen." "Radioactive spider bite, actually," Peter said. "Long story. Look, we don't want to cause problems. We just want to figure out how we got here and how to get back home. Our universes need us." Yoda's ears twitched. "A war your universe fights?" "Lots of them," Cyborg said quietly. "We're heroes where we come from. Part of teams that protect our world from threats. I'm with the Justice League. Spider-Man works with the Avengers. We were dealing with an interdimensional crisis when something went wrong. Some kind of mother box malfunction combined with a dimensional rift." "Mother box?" Obi-Wan exchanged glances with the other council members. "We have no records of such technology." "You wouldn't," Cyborg said. His eye glowed as he accessed his internal memories, projecting a hologram from his palm. The Jedi leaned in, fascinated, as images of New Apocalypse, the Justice League, and Darkseid appeared. "This is new Genesis technology, living computers from a race of new gods. My mother box was integrated into my body after an accident. It's what lets me interface with any technology. Open boom tubes, portals between locations, and access the multiverse's data streams. Or it did. Here, it's barely functional." The hologram shifted to show Spider-Man in action, swinging through New York, fighting alongside the Avengers against Thanos' invasion. Peter winced. "Did you have to show the highlights reel?" "They need to understand what we're capable of," Cyborg said, "and what we're up against if we can't get home." Master Yoda closed his eyes, his expression troubled. "Sense your hearts, I do. Pure they are, aligned with the light, but dangerous your power could be in the wrong hands. In a galaxy at war, many would seek to use you." "War?" Peter's spider sense spiked. "What war?" The doors to the council chamber suddenly opened. A young man strode in, tall, with sandy hair and a mechanical right hand. His presence was intense, confident to the point of arrogance. A small orange and white droid rolled beside him, beeping frantically. "Masters, sorry for the interruption, but we have a situation. Separatist forces have launched an attack on the Christophsis system. They're requesting immediate Jedi support." The young man's eyes fell on Peter and Cyborg, and his expression shifted to surprise. "Who are they?" "Anakin Skywalker, meet our guests," Obi-Wan said with a sigh. "This is Spider-Man and Cyborg. They're from Another universe entirely. Anakin's eyes widened. Another universe? Is that even possible? Apparently, Peter said, offering a small wave. Hi. Big fan of the robot hand. Mine's just regular flesh, but I've got proportional spider strength, so that's something. The droid beeped a series of curious sounds, rolling forward to examine Cyborg. Victor knelt down, his sensors analyzing the astromech. R2-D2. Fascinating. Your AI architecture is far more sophisticated than it should be for your apparent tech level. You're practically sentient. R2 whistled proudly. Mace Windu stood. The matter of Christophsis takes precedence. Anakin, you and Obi-Wan will lead the relief force. As for you two, he fixed Peter and Cyborg with a hard stare. You'll remain in the temple under supervision until we determine what to do with you. With all due respect, Cyborg said, his voice taking on an edge, we're not prisoners. We're heroes who got caught in a freak accident. If you're at war and people need help, we can help. That's what we do. You know nothing of this galaxy, Mace said. Our war, our enemies, our politics, your interference, however well-meaning, could have disastrous consequences. Peter's spider sense suddenly flared, not from danger in the room, but from something else. A feeling of wrongness that permeated the entire structure they were in. He'd felt it since entering the temple, but couldn't place it. Something about this war, this council, this whole situation felt off. Then teach us, Peter said quietly. We're not going to sit on the sidelines while people die if we can do something about it. That's not who we are. Yoda's eyes studied them for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. Perhaps. Learn from each other, we can. Go with Skywalker and Kenobi, you will. But careful, you must be. Choices have consequences, in war especially. Heroes from another world you may be, but heroes here you must prove. Anakin grinned. Great. We could use the backup. Christophsis won't be easy, and if you're as capable as you claim, we'll find out soon enough. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and fair warning. We're walking into a battle against an army of battle droids and a separatist blockade. Hope you're up for it. Peter and Cyborg exchanged glances. They'd faced worse. Probably. They hoped. Lead the way, Skywalker, Cyborg said. As they left the council chamber, Obi-Wan fell into step beside them. I hope you understand the risk you're taking. The Separatist Alliance is no joke. Battle droids, tactical droids, and they're led by Count Dooku, a fallen Jedi who's embraced the dark side of the Force. Fallen Jedi? Peter's mind raced. So there are evil space wizards. Of course there are. Why wouldn't there be? Also, Obi-Wan continued, if the Separatists capture you, they'll try to reverse engineer your technology. You represent a significant tactical advantage, one that both sides would kill to possess. The implications hung heavy in the air as they walked toward the temple's hangar. Peter's spider sense buzzed with that persistent static, and Cyborg's systems flagged dozens of anomalies in the data he was collecting. They were about to walk into a war they didn't understand, in a galaxy where the rules of reality itself were different. But they were heroes, and heroes didn't walk away when people needed help, no matter what universe they were in. The Separatist command ship, Invisible Hand, hung in the void of space, like a predator waiting to strike. On its bridge, Count Dooku stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his elegant features betraying nothing of the calculations running through his mind. General Grievous loomed beside him, the cyborg general's mechanical breathing a constant rasp in the quiet. "My lord," a tactical droid reported, its monotone voice grating. "Our spy network on Coruscant has transmitted unusual intelligence. two unknown individuals appeared on the planet via some form of hyperspace anomaly. Republic forces took them into custody. They claimed to be from another universe. Dooku's eyebrow raised slightly. Another universe? How theatrical. Most likely insurgents or spies using an elaborate cover story. The tactical droid's eyelights flickered. That was our initial assessment. However, the data suggests otherwise. Their technology matches no known signature. One appears to be a cyborg with capabilities that exceed even General Grievous's specifications. The other displays enhanced physical abilities and unusual genetic markers. The Jedi Council has taken personal interest in them. That caught Dooku's full attention. He turned from the viewport, his dark eyes focusing on the droid. "Show me." Holographic images materialized, security footage from Coruscant showing two figures materializing from nowhere in a burst of energy, their arrival tearing through the atmosphere like a wound. The quality was poor, but Dooku could make out details. One humanoid in a red and blue costume that clung to him like a second skin. The other heavily cybernetic with glowing components that pulsed with unfamiliar energy signatures. They were escorted to the Jedi Temple, the tactical droid continued. Our agents lost visual contact, but intercepted communications indicate they're being sent to Christophsis with Skywalker and Kenobi. Grievous's mechanical laugh echoed through the bridge. Skywalker. Excellent. I've been eager for a rematch. If these newcomers fight alongside the Jedi, I'll add their heads to my collection. Dooku stroked his beard thoughtfully. Perhaps. Or perhaps they represent an opportunity. Beings from another universe out of place, likely desperate to return home. Such desperation can be useful. He reached out with the Force, trying to sense these strangers across the vast distance. There, he felt them. Two presences. Strange and out of phase, like notes that didn't quite fit the symphony of the galaxy. One burned with youthful determination and an almost painful sense of responsibility. The other was harder to read, half organic and half machine, his thoughts rapid and analytical. Neither felt aligned with the Jedi's rigid dogma, nor with the Sith's hunger for power. They were neutral, undefined, perfect. General Grievous, Dooku said, his voice smooth as silk over steel. Adjust our battle plans for Christophsis. I want those newcomers captured alive. Use whatever force is necessary, but do not kill them. They may prove valuable to our cause. And if they resist, Grievous's mechanical claws flexed eagerly, then remind them that in this galaxy, power is the only currency that matters. Break them if you must, but I want them functional. My master will be very interested in beings who can traverse between universes. The mention of his master sent a ripple through the crew, though none dared speak. Dooku's master was a shadow that even the Separatist leadership feared, a presence felt, but never seen. It shall be done, Grievous said. I'll prepare the ambush. Skywalker will never see it coming. As the general stalked off to prepare his forces, Dooku remained at the viewport, his mind turning over possibilities. The Clone Wars were proceeding exactly as his master had foreseen. The Republic and Separatists locked in endless conflict, both sides dancing to the Sith's tune. But these newcomers were an unknown variable. They hadn't been foreseen. That made them either a threat to the grand plan or a tool to be exploited. Dooku had learned long ago that in chess, the most dangerous piece was the one your opponent didn't know you possessed. If he could turn these heroes to the Separatist cause, or at least keep them from helping the Republic, it would shift the balance of the war significantly. And if they truly could travel between universes, the implications were staggering. Entire galaxies of resources, armies, technologies beyond imagination. His master would reward such a discovery generously. Count Dooku smiled coldly at his reflection in the viewport. "Welcome to the Clone Wars, travelers. Let us see if you survive long enough to regret your arrival." The Coruscant underworld was nothing like New York's streets, and Peter was starting to miss home desperately. After hours of briefings at the Jedi Temple about galactic politics, the Republic, the Separatist Alliance, the Clone Wars that had engulfed the galaxy, Anakin had suggested they needed better civilian clothes. Their current outfits, he'd said with a smirk, screamed off-worlders. So here they were, deep in the lower levels of Coruscant, where the sunlight never reached and the only illumination came from flickering neon signs in a dozen alien languages. "Stay close," Anakin warned, leading them through a crowded market. The underworld doesn't exactly love the Jedi, or the Republic, or anyone, really. It's every being for themselves down here. Peter's spider sense had finally started to normalize, the static buzz fading as he adapted to the Force's presence. Now it was working more reliably, alerting him to actual threats, and there were plenty. Pickpockets, gang members, creatures that looked like they ate tourists for breakfast. He'd already web-yanked 2 would-be thieves away from Cyborg's exposed systems. "This place reminds me of the suicide slums," Cyborg said, his sensors scanning constantly. Poverty, crime, desperation. Some things are universal, apparently. A small, blue-skinned Twi'lek child ran past, chased by a larger alien wielding a shock stick. Peter's instincts kicked in before his brain caught up. Webline shot out, yanking the shock stick away and sticking it to a wall. The alien roared in fury, but Peter was already gone, helping the child to their feet. "You okay, kid?" The child stared up at him with huge eyes, then nodded rapidly before darting into the crowd. The angry alien took one look at Anakin's lightsaber and decided discretion was the better part of valor, retreating into a cantina. "You can't save everyone, you know," Anakin said, though his tone wasn't unkind. "Coruscant's underworld has billions of people, most of them struggling, most of them ignored by the Senate and the Jedi alike." "Doesn't mean I shouldn't try," Peter shot back. "Someone once told me that with great power comes great responsibility. I can't just ignore people who need help." Anakin's expression shifted, something conflicted crossing his features. "Yeah, I get that. The Jedi preach non-attachment, but sometimes I think they're too detached. They don't see what's right in front of them." They continued through the market, eventually finding a stall that sold various clothing. Anakin negotiated with the proprietor, a 6-armed being that reminded Peter of Dr. Octopus, and secured them outfits that would help them blend in. Dark, practical clothes that wouldn't draw attention. As they changed in a back room, Cyborg pulled Peter aside, his voice low. "I've been monitoring local communications. Pete, this war is wrong. Something's off about it." "What do you mean?" "Both sides are being manipulated. I can't prove it yet, but the patterns don't make sense. The Republic's clone army. They're slaves, Pete. Bred for war. No choice in their existence. And the Separatists claim they're fighting for independence from an oppressive Republic. But their leadership includes megacorporations that profit from the conflict. It's like someone designed a war that can't end." Peter felt a chill. "You're saying this whole thing is a setup?" "I'm saying we need to be careful about picking sides. The Jedi seem noble, but they're generals in an army of slaves. The Republic is democratic on paper, but from what I've accessed, the Senate is corrupt, and the Chancellor has been given emergency powers that keep expanding. Neither side is as clean as they pretend." Before Peter could respond, his spider sense exploded with warning. He grabbed Cyborg and yanked him down just as blaster fire tore through the wall where they'd been standing. The stall owner screamed and fled. Outside, armored figures moved through the market. Not clone troopers, but something else. Mercenaries or bounty hunters. heavily armed. "Targets acquired," one shouted. "Take them alive. The Hutt cartel pays double for the off-worlders." "The what?" Peter webbed his mask back on, glad he'd kept it close. "Okay, so now we're wanted by crime lords too. Great. Just great." Cyborg's sonic cannon charged. "Must be our technology. Everyone wants a piece of it." Anakin burst through the door, lightsaber ignited, deflecting blaster bolts back at their attackers. "I said stay close. The word's already out about you two. Every crime syndicate on Coruscant wants to capture you and sell you to the highest bidder. Separatists, Hutts, whoever pays." Peter swung into action, webs flying. He disarmed 3 mercenaries in seconds, sticking their weapons to the ceiling and their feet to the floor. His enhanced strength made it almost too easy. These beings might have armor and weapons, but they didn't have spider powers. Cyborg's approach was more direct. His sonic cannon fired concentrated sound waves that shattered the mercenaries' armor and sent them flying. His technopathy reached out, hacking their weapons to overload or simply shut down. Within moments, the immediate threat was neutralized, but Peter's spider sense kept screaming. More were coming. Lots more. "We need to move," Anakin shouted, leading them deeper into the underworld. They ran through twisting corridors, past gambling dens and spice dealers, through cantinas filled with species Peter had never imagined. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit grew louder. They ducked into an abandoned warehouse, and Anakin sealed the door with a wave of his hand. The Force, Peter realized, was basically space magic. Crazy, useful space magic. "They'll find us soon," Anakin said, breathing hard. "The underworld has eyes everywhere. We need to get back to the temple, but the route's compromised." "Then we make a new route," Cyborg said. His eye glowed as he interfaced with the building's systems. "I'm accessing the old maintenance tunnels. They run through the lower levels, abandoned decades ago. Should be clear." A massive explosion rocked the door. Through the smoke, a figure emerged, tall, imposing, with cybernetic enhancements that put even Cyborg to shame. 4 arms, each holding a lightsaber, yellow eyes that burned with hatred. "General Grievous," Anakin breathed, his lightsaber coming up defensively. The cyborg general's mechanical laugh sent shivers down Peter's spine. "Skywalker and the Off-Worlders. Perfect. Count Dooku sends his regards. You're coming with me, alive if possible, but dead works too." 2 more lightsabers ignited in Grievous's hands, 4 blades spinning, creating a deadly whirlwind of energy. The general charged, impossibly fast for something so mechanical, and Anakin barely managed to parry the first strike. Peter's spider sense guided him. He fired web lines at Grievous's legs, trying to tangle them, but the general's blades sliced through the webbing effortlessly. Cyborg's sonic cannon hit Grievous square in the chest, staggering him but not stopping him. "Your weapons are useless," Grievous snarled. "I've killed Jedi with far more experience than you, Skywalker. You'll make a fine addition to my collection." The battle was chaos. Anakin's lightsaber work was incredible, faster and more fluid than Peter had thought possible, but Grievous matched him blade for blade. Peter swung around the warehouse trying to find an opening, while Cyborg coordinated their attacks with tactical precision. "Pete, his chest plate." Cyborg's sensors had found the weakness. "There's organic matter inside, heart and lungs. If we can breach the armor..." Peter didn't need to hear more. He fired a web line at the ceiling, using it to slingshot himself at incredible speed. At the last second, he kicked off, adding his momentum to a punch aimed directly at Grievous's exposed chest plate. Spider strength plus velocity plus surprise equals... The impact cracked the armor. Grievous howled, stumbling back, one hand clutching his chest. His lightsabers continued spinning, but his movements were less coordinated now, pain disrupting his focus. "Impossible!" Grievous roared. "What are you?" "Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man," Peter quipped, though his hand hurt like hell. "And you really need to work on your whole evil cyborg thing. It's been done." Anakin pressed the advantage, his blade moving in strikes Peter could barely follow. Grievous parried desperately, but with his chest damaged and facing 3 opponents, even he recognized the tactical situation was untenable. "This isn't over, Skywalker," Grievous spat. With shocking speed, he withdrew into the smoke, his mechanical body disappearing into the shadows. "Count Dooku will have those off-worlders, and you'll watch as I tear them apart." Silence fell over the warehouse. Peter's spider sense slowly stopped screaming. "Okay," Peter said, flexing his sore hand. "That was officially the weirdest fight I've ever been in, and I've fought a guy made of sand." Cyborg's systems were running diagnostics. His cybernetics are crude compared to Mother Box technology, but effective. Whoever built him knew what they were doing. "Pete, did you see how fast he moved? That shouldn't be possible with that much mass." Anakin deactivated his lightsaber, his face troubled. "Grievous is one of the Separatists' most dangerous commanders. The fact that he came personally means they want you badly. Count Dooku, he's a Sith Lord, a master manipulator. If he's interested in you, that's very bad news." "Great," Peter said. "So we've got space wizards, crime lords, and evil cyborgs all wanting to capture us, and we've been here for less than a day. That might be a record even for me." They made their way through the maintenance tunnels Cyborg had found, the darkness broken only by Victor's built-in lighting. The tunnels were ancient, covered in grime and rust, forgotten by the gleaming city above. As they climbed, Peter's mind turned over everything they'd learned. This galaxy was at war, but it wasn't a simple conflict. Both sides had legitimate grievances, both sides were doing terrible things, and something about the whole situation stank of manipulation. The Force, the Jedi, the Sith, the clones. It was all connected in ways he couldn't quite grasp yet. "Vic," Peter said quietly, "we might be in over our heads here." "Might be," Cyborg replied. "Pete, we're in another universe, another galaxy, in the middle of a war we don't understand. And apparently everyone wants to either kill us or dissect us. We are definitely in over our heads." "So what do we do?" Cyborg's human eye met Peter's gaze. "What we always do. We figure it out, we help who we can, and we find a way home. But carefully. This place has rules we're still learning, and making the wrong choice could have consequences we can't predict." Anakin led them back to the surface, where a Republic gunship waited to take them to the Jedi Temple. As they lifted off, Peter looked down at Coruscant's underworld, the forgotten levels where billions lived in shadows, ignored by the powerful, exploited by the corrupt. Some things, he realized, really were universal. Injustice, suffering, people who needed heroes. The question was, could heroes from another universe really make a difference here? Or would they just make things worse? As the gunship soared toward the temple, Peter's spider sense buzzed faintly. Not danger, but something else. A feeling that their arrival had set something in motion, something that couldn't be stopped. For better or worse, they were part of this galaxy's story now. The Senate building's executive office was a masterpiece of opulence, vaulted ceilings, elegant sculptures, and windows that overlooked the entire Coruscant skyline. But Peter's spider sense buzzed uncomfortably as he and Cyborg stood before the man who was supposedly the galaxy's defender of democracy. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine was elderly, with kind eyes and a grandfatherly smile that seemed genuinely warm. He'd requested to meet them personally, citing the extraordinary circumstances of their arrival and expressing the Republic's gratitude for their assistance in the Underworld incident. The Jedi Council had been reluctant but couldn't refuse the Chancellor's direct request. "Remarkable," Palpatine said, studying them with fascination. Simply remarkable. Beings from another universe entirely. The scientific implications alone are staggering. He gestured for them to sit in plush chairs opposite his desk. Please tell me about your worlds. Are they peaceful? Do you have conflicts like our Clone Wars? Peter exchanged glances with Cyborg. Something felt off, but he couldn't pinpoint what. The Chancellor seemed sincere, but that persistent buzz in his spider sense wouldn't quiet. We have our share of conflicts, Cyborg said carefully. Different threats, different stakes. But we try to protect people, keep innocents safe. That's what heroes do. Heroes, Palpatine repeated, savoring the word. How noble. And yet, I understand you've already encountered resistance. General Grievous himself attempted to capture you. The Separatists clearly see your potential as weapons in this war. We're not weapons, Peter said firmly. We're just trying to help and find a way home. Palpatine's smile deepened. Of course, and the Republic will provide every resource to assist you. But I must ask, while you're here, stranded in our galaxy during this terrible conflict, would you consider lending your unique abilities to our cause? The Separatists threaten the very foundation of democracy. Trillions of innocents suffer under their aggression. Your power could save countless lives. There it was, the recruitment pitch. Peter's spider sense flared stronger. We don't know enough about your war to pick sides, Chancellor. No offense, but we just got here. For all we know, the Separatists have legitimate grievances. Something flickered across Palpatine's face, so fast Peter almost missed it. Anger? Calculation? Then the grandfatherly mask returned. I understand your caution. It speaks well of your character. Perhaps then you'd agree to observe. The Jedi are deploying to Christopolis to break a Separatist blockade. Go with them. See firsthand what we face. Then decide for yourselves who deserves your aid. Cyborg's systems were analyzing everything. Vocal patterns, micro-expressions, even the room's hidden security systems. Something wasn't adding up. The Chancellor's words were reasonable, but underneath, Victor's sensors detected inconsistencies, stress patterns that didn't match his calm demeanor. He was hiding something. We were already planning to go to Christopolis, Cyborg said. The Jedi Council approved our deployment with Skywalker and Kenobi. Excellent, Palpatine stood, extending his hand. Then I wish you luck. May the Force be with you, as they say. And please, if you need anything at all, my office is at your disposal. You represent a unique opportunity for peace between our universes. I would hate for our war to drive you away before we truly get to know one another. As they left the office, Peter's spider sense finally began to settle, but the unease remained. He was lying, Cyborg said quietly once they were in the corridor. Not about everything, but something. My sensors picked up elevated stress responses when you mentioned the Separatists having legitimate grievances. And there's something else. The security systems in that office are beyond military grade. Why does a democratic leader need that level of protection inside his own building? Maybe because there's a war on, Peter suggested, but even he didn't sound convinced. Or maybe because he has enemies he hasn't told anyone about. They made their way back to the Jedi Temple, where Anakin was waiting with supplies and equipment for the mission. Obi-Wan stood beside him, his expression grave. The Chancellor summoned you personally, Obi-Wan said. That's unusual. He rarely meets with anyone outside the Senate and the Jedi Council. What did he want? To recruit us, Peter said. Real friendly about it, but definitely a recruitment pitch. Said we should see the war firsthand, then decide who to help. Anakin frowned. The Chancellor's a good man. He's been granted emergency powers to fight the Separatists, but he's always said he'll give them up once the war ends. He genuinely wants peace. Emergency powers that keep expanding, Cyborg noted. I've been reading your Senate records. Every few months, new powers get voted to him. When does it stop? When the war ends, Anakin said, but there was uncertainty in his voice. Look, I know the Republic isn't perfect. The Senate's corrupt. The Jedi are spread too thin, and the clones... He paused, glancing at a passing group of clone troopers. The clones deserve better than to be treated as property, but the Separatists are worse. Count Dooku serves a Sith Lord. The Sith want to destroy the Jedi and rule through fear and power. And what do the Jedi want? Peter asked. The question seemed to catch Anakin off guard. To protect the Republic, to serve the Force. By leading armies? Cyborg pressed. No disrespect, but from what we've seen, you're peacekeepers being forced into a role you're not built for. Doesn't that bother you? Every day, Anakin admitted quietly. But what choice do we have? If we don't fight, the Separatists win. Trillions die. Or, Peter said carefully, maybe there's a third option. Maybe someone's playing both sides. Maybe this war doesn't have to be fought the way everyone thinks. Obi-Wan stepped forward, his expression sharp. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that in my universe, when things don't make sense, it's usually because someone's manipulating the situation. You've got a democratic republic that somehow has a slave army ready to go the moment war breaks out. You've got separatists led by megacorporations that profit from conflict. You've got a chancellor with expanding powers and a war that conveniently never seems to end. Doesn't that pattern seem familiar? The Jedi Masters exchanged troubled looks. Finally, Obi-Wan spoke. We've had concerns. Master Yoda and others have sensed something clouding the Force, a darkness we can't quite identify. But without proof, without understanding, we can't act. We're bound by the Republic's laws and the Jedi Code. Then maybe it's good we're not bound by either, Cyborg said. We can look where you can't, ask questions you're not supposed to ask. Anakin's mechanical hand clenched. Be careful. Questions like that make enemies, powerful enemies. We've fought powerful enemies before, Peter said. At least back home we knew who the villains were. Here, I'm not so sure anymore. A hologram flickered to life, a blue-skinned admiral reporting urgent news. General Kenobi, we've received distress calls from Christophilus. The separatist blockade is bombarding the surface. Civilian casualties are mounting. We need to depart immediately. The moment of philosophical debate ended. People were dying. Whatever political complexities existed, innocent lives hung in the balance. We're coming, Peter said. We can sort out the big picture later. Right now, people need help. As they boarded the Republic cruiser, Peter watched the clone troopers preparing for battle. Identical faces, identical armor, each one grown in a lab for the sole purpose of fighting. It reminded him of the body horror of some of his worst villains. These men, because they were men, despite their artificial creation, deserved better. Cyborg was thinking the same thing. His sensors picked up their conversations, their camaraderie, their hopes and fears. They were sentient beings treated as equipment. It made his circuits burn with anger. We're going to fix this, Victor said quietly. Somehow. When we figure out what's really going on, we're going to fix it. That's a big promise for two guys stuck in the wrong universe, Peter replied. Since when has that stopped us? Peter smiled behind his mask. Fair point. The cruiser jumped to hyperspace, and through the viewport, the stars stretched into lines of light. They were heading into battle, in a war they didn't understand, for a republic they weren't sure they trusted, against enemies they'd barely encountered. But if there were innocent people who needed saving, that's all that mattered. At least, Peter hoped it was that simple. His spider sense suggested otherwise. Christophilus was beautiful and burning. The planet's crystalline structures caught the light of its sun, refracting it into prismatic displays that should have been breathtaking. Instead, those crystals were shattered by orbital bombardment, their fragments glittering as they fell like deadly snow. Separatist ships formed a blockade around the planet, massive Providence-class destroyers and countless droid fighters that swarmed like mechanical locusts. Peter stood in the bridge of the Republic cruiser, watching the tactical display with growing horror. How many people are down there? The main city has a population of approximately 3 million, Obi-Wan said grimly. Most are civilians. The Separatists are using the siege to draw us out. They know the Jedi won't abandon innocents. That's sick, Peter muttered. Using civilians as bait. Welcome to war, Anakin said, his voice hard. Grievous doesn't care about collateral damage. Neither do the Separatist leaders. They want strategic victories, and they'll kill millions to get them. The cruiser shuddered as Separatist fighters opened fire. Clone pilots scrambled to their ships, ARC-170s and V-Wings, sleek fighters that launched from the hangar in tight formations. The space around Christophilus became a furball of laser fire and explosions. We need to break the blockade, the clone admiral reported. But their destroyers have heavy shields. We'll need to get close, and that means running a gauntlet of turbo laser fire. Cyborg stepped forward, his eye glowing as he interfaced with the ship's systems. Let me help. I can coordinate your fighter squadrons more efficiently than your standard computers, and I can find weak points in their shield distribution patterns. The Admiral looked to Obi-Wan, who nodded. Do it. Victor's consciousness expanded through the ship's network. He felt the crude by his standards AI systems, the clone pilots' communication channels, the sensor arrays tracking hundreds of contacts. His mother box technology, still recovering from the dimensional transition, surged with newfound purpose. This was what he was built for: tactical coordination, processing massive amounts of data in real time. Gold Squadron, Vector 37 Mark II. Their port destroyer's shields are rotating frequency. You've got a 4-second window to hit the generators. Copy that, a clone pilot responded. Gold Leader breaking attack. Peter watched through the viewport as the battle unfolded. It was like nothing he'd experienced. Capital ships exchanging devastating salvos, fighters weaving between them, and everywhere, explosions blooming like deadly flowers. What can I do? I'm not much good in a space battle. Actually, Anakin said, a reckless grin crossing his face. You might be perfect for what I have in mind. Can you survive in vacuum? For a while. My suit's not airtight, but I can hold my breath longer than normal. Why? Because we're going to do something crazy. We need to disable that command ship's weapon systems. I'm going to fly us onto its hull, and you're going to web up the turbo laser batteries while I cut through to their shield generators. Think you can handle that? Peter's spider sense screamed warning. He ignored it. That's the worst plan I've ever heard. Let's do it. They suited up, Anakin in a modified flight suit with attached oxygen, Peter relying on his enhanced physiology and the deep breathing techniques he'd learned after years of superheroics. They climbed into Anakin's personal starfighter, a modified Jedi interceptor with barely enough room for both of them. This is insane, Obi-Wan said over the comm. Anakin, you're going to get yourself killed. Again. Have faith, Master, Anakin replied, launching from the hangar. Besides, we've got Spider-Man. How often do you get to say that? The interceptor screamed through the battle. Anakin's piloting was insane, barrel rolls that defied physics, weaving through debris fields with centimeters to spare, using the Force to anticipate enemy fire before it came. Peter's spider sense synced with it, warning him of dangers that Anakin then instinctively avoided. Together, they were nearly unstoppable. "Approaching the command ship," Anakin reported. "Magnetic lock on their hull in 3, 2, 1. They clamped onto the destroyer's surface with a thud. Anakin popped the canopy, and instantly Peter felt the cold of space trying to steal his breath. He held it, trusting his enhanced biology. Anakin ignited his lightsaber, the blue blade somehow still brilliant in the vacuum. Peter leaped across the hull, his wall-crawling ability working perfectly on the metal surface. Turbo laser batteries tracked them, but he was too fast. Web fluid shot out. Would it even work in space? It did, flash freezing instantly into icy cables that gummed up the turret mechanisms. Battery after battery fell silent as Peter danced across the hull, his movements precise despite the lack of air. Anakin cut through an access hatch, and they dropped into the ship's interior. Atmosphere rushed in, and Peter gasped gratefully. "Okay, that was officially the craziest thing I've ever done, and I once fought the Vulture at 30,000 feet. Come on!" Anakin ran through the corridor, lightsaber deflecting blaster bolts from battle droids that appeared around every corner. Peter webbed them up, sticking them to walls and ceilings, clearing a path. They reached the shield generator room, a massive chamber filled with pulsing machinery and more battle droids than Peter could count. "Oh, come on," Peter groaned. "Don't these guys ever run out?" "Nope," Anakin charged in, a whirlwind of blue light and impossible reflexes. Peter followed, his enhanced strength turning battle droids into scrap metal with every punch. They were outmatched numerically, but superior in every other way. Anakin reached the main generator and drove his lightsaber through it. The blade melted through the machinery like butter, and alarms began screaming throughout the ship. "Shields down," Cyborg's voice crackled over their comms. "All batteries, target the command ship. Fire!" The destroyer shuddered as Republic fire hammered its now exposed hull. Peter and Anakin ran for the fighter, battle droids pursuing them. They launched just as a turbo laser battery exploded behind them, the shockwave propelling them back into open space. "That," Peter panted, "was completely insane." "Yeah," Anakin grinned. "Isn't it great?" The blockade was breaking. With the command ship crippled, the Separatist formation fell into disarray. Clone squadrons pressed the advantage, destroying fighters and forcing destroyers to retreat. Within 30 minutes, the skies above Christopolis were clear, but the battle wasn't over. On the planet's surface, Separatist ground forces still held the capital city. Thousands of battle droids dug in among the crystalline structures, using civilians as shields. The Republic would have to go down there and dig them out. Obi-Wan's voice came over the fleet comm. "All Jedi and clone battalions, prepare for planetary assault. We're taking Christopolis back." The cruiser descended through the atmosphere, and Peter got his first real look at an alien world. Christopolis was stunning even in its damaged state. Cities of crystal that reflected light like diamonds. Forests that seemed to sing in the wind, and everywhere, the scars of war. Burning buildings, shattered structures, refugees fleeing through the streets. They landed in a secure zone, and clone troopers disembarked in perfect formation. Peter and Cyborg followed, joined by Anakin, Obi-Wan, and a young Togruta Padawan named Ahsoka Tano, who Anakin introduced as his apprentice. "Master Skywalker talks about you constantly," Ahsoka said, eyeing Peter and Cyborg with obvious curiosity. "Says you're from another universe. That's so wizard." "Wizard," Peter whispered to Cyborg. "Slang, I think. Means cool." The battlefield was chaos. Battle droids advanced in perfect lines, their blaster fire creating a wall of energy. Clone troopers returned fire from cover, but they were outnumbered. In the sky, droid fighters still strafed the city despite the blockade's defeat. "Okay," Peter said, analyzing the situation with his enhanced tactical mind. "Victor, can you coordinate the clone troops like you did the fighters?" "Already on it. I'm linking into their helmet comms. These guys are good soldiers, but they could use better battlefield intelligence." "Ahsoka, you're with me," Anakin ordered. "We'll flank left, draw their fire. Obi-Wan, take Spider-Man and push center. Cyborg, give us targets." "Wait," Peter said. "Those buildings, they're still occupied. I can see people trapped inside through the windows. If we push too hard, the droids will use them as hostages or worse." Obi-Wan's expression was grim. "Then we'll have to be precise. Spider-Man, can you extract civilians while we engage the droids?" "That's what I do best." The battle began. Peter swung through the crystal city, his webs finding purchase on structures that glittered like diamonds. He crashed through windows where he sensed civilians hiding, evacuating families, the elderly, the injured. His spider sense guided him to those in the most danger, a group trapped in a basement as battle droids advanced, children separated from their parents in the chaos. Each rescue was a race against time. Battle droids were relentless, their programming unable to comprehend mercy. Peter webbed them up, tore them apart, used their own weapons against them. His quips kept coming. "Hey, Tin Man, you're looking a little rusty." Did someone order scrap metal? Because humor helped him deal with the horror of war. Cyborg was a one-man army. His sonic cannon tore through droid formations, his technopathy turned their own weapons against them, and his tactical coordination kept clone casualties to a minimum. He hacked droid fighters mid-flight, sending them crashing into their own forces. He disabled tank droids by overloading their circuits. He was, Peter realized, terrifyingly effective when he cut loose. Anakin and Ahsoka were poetry in motion. Master and apprentice moved in perfect sync, their lightsabers extensions of their will. They cut through the droid army like a hot knife through butter, deflecting blaster fire, using the Force to hurl debris, their connection evident in every movement. Obi-Wan was more measured, his style defensive and precise. He protected the clone troops, coordinating their advance, his lightsaber creating an impenetrable wall against blaster fire. Peter found himself impressed by the general. Obi-Wan was everything a leader should be. The battle raged for hours. Peter's arms ached from swinging, his webs were running low, and his body was covered in cuts and bruises from near misses and debris. But they were winning. The droids were falling back, their command structure disrupted, their numbers dwindling. Then his spider sense exploded with warning. "Everyone down!" Peter screamed. A massive explosion rocked the city center. Not from the droids, from the separatist ships retreating in orbit. They were bombarding their own position, willing to destroy their forces if it meant killing the Jedi. Peter's webs shot out, creating a net that caught falling civilians. Cyborg's shields deflected debris. The Jedi used the Force to create barriers, protecting clone troopers. But the devastation was immense. When the dust cleared, the battlefield was silent. The droids were destroyed, but so was a significant portion of the city. Fires burned everywhere. The air smelled of ozone and death. "They're retreating," Cyborg reported, watching the separatist ships enter hyperspace. "We won, but at what cost?" Peter looked around at the devastation. Clone troopers sat exhausted among the rubble. Civilians emerged from hiding, many injured, all traumatized. Jedi moved among them, offering comfort, using the Force to heal where they could. This was war. Not the clean, heroic version Peter had read about in history books. This was ugly, brutal, and left scars that wouldn't heal. "How do you do this?" Peter asked Anakin quietly. "How do you fight battles like this over and over?" Anakin's expression was haunted. You tell yourself it's necessary, that you're saving lives by taking the fight to the enemy. But some nights, he trailed off, watching Ahsoka helping an injured child. Some nights I wonder if the Jedi were ever meant to be soldiers. Obi-Wan approached, his robes torn and singed. The city is secure. Casualties are lower than expected, thanks to Spider-Man's civilian evacuations and Cyborg's tactical coordination. The Council will be pleased. Will they? Cyborg asked. We just fought in a battle that destroyed half a city. The Separatists were willing to kill their own forces rather than let us win. Something about this war is deeply wrong. We know, Obi-Wan said quietly. But what choice do we have? If we don't fight, they win. More innocents die. Peter's spider sense was still buzzing, not from danger, but from wrongness. This whole situation, the war, the Republic, the Separatists, it all felt like pieces of a puzzle that didn't quite fit. And somewhere in the shadows, someone was moving those pieces. The Republic cruiser's briefing room was cramped, filled with holographic displays showing intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Peter, Cyborg, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka stood around the central holotable while clone officers presented their findings. But Peter wasn't paying attention to the military briefings. He was watching Cyborg's expression, the intense focus, the rapid calculations running behind his eye. Victor, Peter whispered, you found something. Cyborg nodded minutely. They'd been conducting their own investigation in parallel with the Republic's mission on Christophilus. Victor's technopathy had given him access to separatist communication networks, banking records, and military logistics. What he'd discovered was damning. When the clone officers finished their reports and left, Cyborg activated his own presentation. Generals, there's something you need to see. The hologram shifted, showing financial transactions, supply routes, and communication intercepts. I've been analyzing the war's logistics for the past 2 days. The pattern is impossible. What pattern? Anakin asked. Both sides are being supplied by the same sources. The Republic's clone army was created by Kaminoans, right? But who's funding that? The banking clan. Who's also funding the separatist droid army. The Techno-Union provides technology to both sides. The Commerce Guild ships supplies to both fleets. Every major corporation involved in this war is playing both sides. Obi-Wan's expression darkened. That's a serious accusation. It's not an accusation, it's data. Cyborg's hologram expanded, showing the web of connections. But that's not the worst part. Look at the communication patterns. Every major battle, every strategic move, every tactical decision, they're all being coordinated. Not by the Republic Senate, not by the Separatist Council, by someone else. Who? Ahsoka asked, her voice small. I don't know yet. The communications are heavily encrypted, routed through a dozen proxies. But I've managed to trace some of them back to Coruscant. Specifically to the Senate district. The room fell silent. Peter's spider sense was screaming now, that feeling of wrongness intensifying. You're suggesting, Obi-Wan said carefully, that someone in the Senate is controlling both sides of the war. I'm not suggesting anything, Cyborg said. I'm showing you evidence. Someone is orchestrating this entire conflict. The war doesn't end because someone doesn't want it to end. Every time the Republic gains ground, the Separatists receive new resources. Every time the Separatists push too far, the Republic gets reinforcements. It's balanced, deliberately. Anakin's mechanical hand clenched into a fist. That's insane. Why would anyone do that? Power, Peter said quietly. Back in my world, we've seen it before. Create a crisis, position yourself as the solution, expand your authority to handle the emergency. By the time people realize what's happened, you've consolidated control. The Chancellor's emergency powers, Obi-Wan breathed. Every extension has been justified by the war's continuation. Palpatine, Anakin's voice was sharp, defensive. No, he's a good man. He's been fighting to preserve democracy. Has he? Cyborg interrupted. Or has he been fighting to preserve the war? Look at his voting record. Every bill that would enable peace negotiations, blocked. Every proposal for diplomatic solutions, delayed. Every expansion of executive power, approved. He's been consolidating control for 3 years. You're talking about treason, Anakin said, his voice dangerous. About accusing the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic based on circumstantial data you can't even fully trace. I'm talking about connecting dots, Cyborg shot back. And right now, all those dots lead back to the Senate. Master Kenobi, Ahsoka said hesitantly, the Council has sensed something wrong in the Force, a darkness clouding everything. What if this is it? What if someone is using the war to hide a greater plan? Obi-Wan stroked his beard, his expression troubled. The Sith. Count Dooku serves a Sith master. We've known this, but never identified who. If that master were positioned within the Republic itself, it would explain everything, Peter finished. The Jedi fighting a war they're not suited for, spreading themselves thin. The clones, bred with some kind of control mechanism maybe. The Republic giving more and more power to one man. It's a setup. The whole galaxy is being played. Anakin paced like a caged animal. Even if you're right, and I'm not saying you are, what do? We can't just accuse the Chancellor without proof. The Senate would never believe us. The Jedi would be seen as traitors. Then we get proof, Cyborg said. Real, undeniable proof. I need to hack deeper into Senate systems, access classified files. If Palpatine is the Sith Lord, there will be evidence. Communication with Dooku, financial records, something. That's illegal, Obi-Wan pointed out. Hacking Senate systems is treason. So is orchestrating a galactic war, Peter said. Look, I get it. You've got rules, codes, laws. We respect that. But sometimes doing the right thing means breaking rules. If there's even a chance we're right, can you afford not to investigate? The Jedi Masters exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them. Finally, Obi-Wan nodded. We'll need the Council's approval. Master Yoda and Master Windu must be informed. This is too important to handle alone. No, Anakin said suddenly. If there is a conspiracy, if someone in the Senate is listening to Council communications, informing them could tip off whoever's behind this. We need to move carefully, quietly. You're suggesting we go behind the Council's back? Obi-Wan's tone was sharp. I'm suggesting we gather evidence first, present it to the Council when we have something concrete. Otherwise, it's just the word of two off-worlders against the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. Peter's spider sense was screaming now, and he realized why. We're being watched. Right now, someone's monitoring this conversation. Cyborg's eye flashed. He's right. I'm detecting an encrypted signal piggybacks on our ship's communication array. It's transmitting our location and, damn it, it's transmitting everything we've said. The door to the briefing room suddenly slid open. Clone troopers stood outside, but their body language was wrong. Too rigid, too mechanical. By order of the Chancellor, the lead trooper said, his voice flat and emotionless, you are all under arrest for conspiracy against the Republic. Anakin's hand went to his lightsaber. What? Under whose authority? Mine, a cold voice said. Count Dooku stepped into the corridor behind the troopers, flanked by more droids and elite combat models. His elegant features held a cruel smile. Did you really think your investigation would go unnoticed? My master sees all, knows all. and he's decided that you've become too dangerous to leave alive. Peter's spider sense exploded with warning as battle droids emerged from every corridor. They were surrounded, outnumbered, and trapped in the heart of a Republic cruiser that had somehow been compromised. "So much for careful and quiet," Peter muttered, his web shooters priming for combat. Dooku ignited his lightsaber, a curved hilt producing a red blade that hummed with malevolence. "You should have stayed out of matters you don't understand, off-worlders. This galaxy doesn't need heroes from another universe. It needs order, discipline, power." "Yeah?" Peter shot back. "Well, we don't take orders from evil space wizards with fashion sense from a Renaissance fair." Cyborg's sonic cannon charged, his systems analyzing their tactical situation. It was bad. They were boxed in, with limited space to maneuver and overwhelming enemy numbers. But they were also heroes, and heroes didn't surrender. "Ahsoka, stay close to me," Anakin ordered, his lightsaber igniting with a snap hiss. "Obi-Wan, take the left flank. Spider-Man, Cyborg, try not to die." "Great pep talk," Peter said, firing webbing at the ceiling and swinging into action. The battle erupted with brutal intensity. Dooku moved like water, his lightsaber style elegant and deadly. He engaged Obi-Wan and Anakin simultaneously, his mastery of the Force evident in every parry and strike. The Jedi Masters struggled to match him, their skills formidable but pushed to their limits. Peter and Cyborg handled the battle droids and compromised clone troopers. Peter webbed weapons, yanked troopers off their feet, used his agility to stay ahead of blaster fire. Cyborg's sonic cannon tore through droid formations while his technopathy tried to hack the corrupted clones' control systems. "They've got inhibitor chips," Cyborg shouted over the chaos. "Biological chips in their brains. Someone's activated them remotely." "Can you deactivate them?" Peter dodged a thermal detonator, webbing it and throwing it back at the droids. "Not without surgical equipment. Pete, these clones are slaves. They've got kill switches in their heads." The revelation hit Peter like a physical blow. The entire clone army, millions of soldiers, all controlled by chips that could be activated remotely. If someone wanted to, they could turn the entire Republic military into an assassination force with a single command. "Master!" Ahsoka screamed. Peter's spider sense flared. He turned to see Dooku's blade descending toward Anakin, the Jedi off balance from a force push. Without thinking, Peter fired a web line and yanked Anakin backward. Dooku's lightsaber missed by centimeters, the red blade scarring the deck. "You're fast, Spider-Man," Dooku observed, his tone almost admiring. "But speed won't save you from the inevitable. My master's plan is already in motion. Order 66 will activate, the Jedi will fall, and the Republic will transform into an empire that will rule for 1,000 years. "Order 66, Obi-Wan's face went pale. "What have you done?" "Not yet," Dooku smiled. "But soon, very soon. And when it happens, not even your off-world friends can stop it." Cyborg's tactical analysis was complete. "We need to retreat. We're pinned down and reinforcements are coming. If we stay here, we die." "He's right," Anakin said, though every instinct screamed against retreat. "We need to get this information to the Council. Warn them about Order 66. "The escape pods," Ahsoka pointed. 3 corridors down." They fought their way toward the pods, a running battle through the cruiser's halls. Peter's webs ran low. Cyborg's power reserves dropped into the red. The Jedi were exhausted, their connection to the Force strained by constant combat. They reached the escape pods and piled in, Cyborg manually overriding the launch sequence. As they jettisoned into space, Peter caught one last glimpse of Dooku standing in the hangar, watching them go with that same cruel smile. "He let us escape," Obi-Wan said, breathing hard. He wanted us to get away. Why? Ahsoka asked. Because we know too much but can't prove enough, Cyborg realized. If we accuse Palpatine now with no hard evidence, we look like conspiracy theorists. The Senate won't believe us. The public won't believe us. And meanwhile, Order 66, whatever it is, gets closer to activation. We have to try, Anakin said fiercely. We have to warn the Council. The escape pod streaked toward the nearest Republic outpost, leaving the compromised cruiser behind. But Peter's spider sense wouldn't settle. They'd uncovered the conspiracy, but that might be exactly what the enemy wanted. Sometimes the worst traps were the ones baited with truth. The Republic outpost was a small facility on an asteroid in the Outer Rim, barely more than a communications relay and refueling station. But it had secure channels to Coruscant, and right now that's all they needed. Peter paced in the cramped communication room while Cyborg worked on establishing an encrypted link to the Jedi Temple. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka stood nearby, all of them still processing what they'd learned. The Council needs to know everything, Obi-Wan said for the third time. The conspiracy, the inhibitor chips, Order 66, all of it. And then what? Peter challenged. You go arrest the Supreme Chancellor based on the word of two guys from another universe and circumstantial evidence? How do you think that plays out? We're Jedi, Ahsoka said firmly. We protect the Republic. If the Chancellor is corrupt, if he's a Sith Lord orchestrating a galactic war, Cyborg interrupted without looking up from his work, then he's been planning for the possibility of discovery. He'll have contingencies, legal protections, political allies, and if he activates Order 66 before you can stop him, every clone trooper in the galaxy turns on the Jedi simultaneously. The room fell silent at that. The implications were staggering and horrifying. There has to be a way, Anakin said, his voice strained. We can't just do nothing. We're not doing nothing, Peter said. We're thinking strategically. In my world, when we face an enemy with this much power, we don't charge in head first. We gather allies, build evidence, prepare for the backlash. Otherwise, we just make things worse. Your world, Anakin snapped. This isn't your world, Spider-Man. You don't understand our politics, our history, our what? Peter shot back. Our willingness to follow rules even when those rules are being used to destroy us. I may not be from here, but I recognize a setup when I see one. You're being played, all of you. The Jedi, the clones, the entire Republic. And if you make the wrong move now, everyone dies. Anakin's hand moved toward his lightsaber, anger flashing across his features. Obi-Wan stepped between them. Stop, both of you. Fighting amongst ourselves accomplishes nothing. Link established, Cyborg announced. Routing through multiple proxies to avoid tracking. We should have about 10 minutes before anyone can trace the signal. The hologram flickered to life, showing Master Yoda and Mace Windu in the council chambers. Their expressions were grave. Troubling news you have, Yoda said without preamble. Felt in the Force, we did. A disturbance. Your discovery. Dangerous it is. Obi-Wan quickly explained everything. The financial connections, the coordinated strategies, the inhibitor chips, Dooku's mention of Order 66. As he spoke, the Council Master's expressions grew darker. This is madness, Mace said when Obi-Wan finished. You're suggesting the Chancellor, the democratically elected leader of the Republic, is the Sith Lord we've been hunting for years. The evidence points to someone with his level of access and authority, Cyborg said. I can't trace the communications directly to him yet, but the pattern is clear. Someone in the Senate district is controlling both sides of the war. Circumstantial, Mace countered. Not enough to act on. If we accuse Palpatine and we're wrong, the Jedi Order loses all credibility. The Senate would disband us. The clones would be turned over to pure military command. Everything we've built over 1,000 years, gone. And if you don't act and we're right? Peter asked. Order 66 activates. Every Jedi gets murdered by their own soldiers, and the Sith take over the galaxy. Which risk are you willing to take? Yoda closed his eyes, his ears drooping. A terrible choice this is. Act too soon. Destroy ourselves we might. Act too late. He trailed off, the implication hanging in the air. There's a third option, Cyborg said slowly. We don't confront Palpatine directly. We gather irrefutable proof first. I need to physically access Senate systems, hack past their encryption, find the direct communications with Dooku. Once we have that, the evidence becomes undeniable. That's breaking into the most secure facility in the Republic, Anakin said. Even with your technopathy, the security systems are designed to resist exactly that kind of intrusion. Not alone, Cyborg agreed, but with help. Spider-Man's stealth abilities, a Jedi's force powers to hide our presence, and my hacking skills, we could do it. Mace shook his head. You're talking about conducting an illegal operation against the head of state. If you're caught, it's treason. The Jedi Council cannot officially sanction this. But unofficially, Peter pressed. The hologram flickered as the communication started breaking up. Cyborg cursed. Someone's tracing us. We need to cut this short. Do what you must, Yoda said, his ancient eyes holding Peter's gaze through the hologram. Trust the Force, we do. Trust you, we also do. But careful, you must be. The dark side clouds everything. Deceive even the wisest it can. The transmission cut out just as alarms began blaring through the outpost. Separatist ships incoming, a clone officer reported. 3 frigates and fighter escort. We're under attack. Again? Ahsoka groaned. Don't these guys ever take a break? They ran for the hangar where their ships were docked. Peter's spider sense was screaming warnings, but something felt off. The attack was too convenient, too perfectly timed with their communication. It's another message, Peter realized. Whoever's behind this is saying, I know what you're doing and I can find you anywhere. Then we stop hiding, Anakin said, climbing into his fighter. We take the fight to them. But Cyborg grabbed his arm. No, that's what they want. Keep us reacting, always on the defensive, never able to go on the offensive. We need to split up. Split up, Obi-Wan said. That's tactically unsound. It's the only way, Cyborg insisted. Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, you return to Coruscant. Maintain appearances. Act like nothing's wrong. The more normal you seem, the less urgency our enemy feels. And you too, Anakin asked. Peter and Cyborg exchanged glances. They'd worked together enough to communicate without words. We're going dark, Peter said. No council oversight, no Republic support. We're going to get that evidence, whatever it takes. You'll be fugitives, Obi-Wan warned. The moment you start hacking Senate systems, you'll have every security force in the Republic hunting you. Won't be the first time we've been on the wrong side of authority, Cyborg said. We're used to operating in the gray areas. This isn't gray, Mace's voice crackled over Peter's communicator. He must have re-established the link on a more secure channel. This is black. You'll be branded as enemies of the Republic. We won't be able to protect you. We're not asking you to, Peter said. We're asking you to trust us. To give us time to do what needs to be done, even if it looks bad. Anakin stepped forward, his expression conflicted. I should go with you, help you. No, Peter said firmly. You're too important. You're the chosen one, right? Destined to bring balance to the Force. You need to stay visible, keep the enemy's attention on you while we work in the shadows. Besides, Cyborg added, if this goes wrong, the Jedi need plausible deniability. You can't be associated with what we're about to do. The outpost shuddered as Separatist fire began hammering the shields. Time was running out. "May the Force be with you," Obi-Wan said quietly, extending his hand. Peter shook it, feeling the weight of the Jedi's trust. Yoda's voice came through one last time. "Heroes you are, from another world. Heroes you remain. But remember, the brightest light casts the darkest shadow. Careful of the dark, you must be." Peter and Cyborg ran for a small transport ship, a Corellian freighter that had been docked for repairs. Cyborg hotwired it in seconds, and they launched into space just as the outpost's shields collapsed. Behind them, the Jedi engaged the Separatist forces, providing cover for their escape. Ahead, the stars stretched into hyperspace lines as they jumped away. They were alone now. Two heroes from another universe, fugitives in a galaxy at war, hunting for evidence against the most powerful man in the Republic. No backup, no support, just their skills, their determination, and each other. "So," Peter said as they rocketed through hyperspace, "this is either the bravest thing we've ever done or the stupidest." "Why not both?" Cyborg replied, already plotting their approach vector to Coruscant. "We're going to break into Senate security, hack the Chancellor's private files, and expose a Sith conspiracy that's been hidden for years. What could possibly go wrong?" Peter's spider sense buzzed ominously. "Don't say that. You never say that. That's like rule number 1 of superheroics." But despite his words, Peter felt a strange sense of purpose. This was what he did, what they both did. When everyone else said something was impossible, when the odds were overwhelming, when doing the right thing meant breaking all the rules, that's when heroes stepped up. They just hoped they weren't already too late. In his office on Coruscant, Palpatine felt the pieces moving across his board. The off-worlders were proving more troublesome than anticipated, but also more useful. Their investigation was forcing the Jedi to act, to show their hand, to reveal how much they suspected. Soon, very soon, he would activate Order 66. The Jedi would fall. The Republic would transform into his empire. And these troublesome heroes from another universe, they would make excellent examples of what happened to those who opposed the Sith. Darth Sidious smiled in the darkness and waited for his pawns to make their final moves. Coruscant at night was a city of 1 trillion lights, each one representing a life, a dream, a story. Peter clung to the side of the Senate building, thousands of feet above the traffic lanes, his fingers finding impossible purchase on the polished stone. Below, speeders hummed through their designated routes, oblivious to the two figures scaling one of the Republic's most secure facilities. "This is insane," Peter muttered into his calm. "This is actually insane. We're breaking into Space Congress to hack Space Nixon." "Focus," Cyborg's voice crackled back. He was 20 meters to Peter's left, using magnetic grips to ascend the building's exterior. "We've got a 30-minute window before the security rotation changes. After that, my false credentials won't hold up." They'd spent 3 days preparing for this. 3 days of reconnaissance, hacking peripheral systems, creating false identities in Republic databases, and mapping every security measure between them and Palpatine's private files. Cyborg had determined the Chancellor maintained a secure server in his office, isolated from the main Senate network, accessible only through physical intrusion. Peter's spider sense had been buzzing constantly for those 3 days, not from immediate danger, but from the weight of what they were attempting. If they succeeded, they'd expose a conspiracy that had manipulated a galaxy for years. If they failed, they'd be executed as traitors, and the Jedi Order would fall. No pressure. They reached a maintenance access point, a ventilation port that Cyborg's scans had identified as the weakest entry. Peter webbed the grate, pulling it free silently. They slipped inside, finding themselves in a narrow crawl space that reeked of recycled air and machine oil. "Security checkpoint ahead," Cyborg whispered, his sensors painting a picture of the layout. 2 guards, both human, Senate guard, not clones, armed with force pikes and blaster pistols. Can you hack the cameras? Already done. Loop running. We've got 60 seconds before anyone notices the gap. They dropped from the vent into a darkened corridor. Peter's spider sense guided him around pressure plates and motion sensors that Cyborg systems flagged. This wasn't like fighting supervillains. This was espionage, the kind of work Black Widow or Nick Fury excelled at. Peter felt out of his depth but pushed forward anyway. The Senate building's interior was opulent to the point of excess. Marble floors, ornate pillars, artwork from 1,000 worlds. This was the heart of Republic democracy, built on the ideals of freedom and representation. It made what they were uncovering even more tragic. They reached the Chancellor's wing, and Cyborg's expression grew tense. Heavy encryption ahead. This is military-grade security, Pete, way beyond what a civilian leader should need. Another red flag for the pile, Peter muttered. Cyborg interfaced directly with the security panel, his mother box technology finally working at something close to full capacity after days of adaptation. Lines of code cascaded across his vision as he navigated digital defenses designed to resist even the most sophisticated slicing attempts. Got it, he breathed after 2 tense minutes. The door slid open with a whisper. Palpatine's office was surprisingly modest. A desk, some chairs, large windows overlooking the cityscape. But Peter's spider sense screamed as he entered. This room felt wrong, tainted, like something dark had soaked into the very walls. You feel that? Peter whispered. I'm detecting unusual energy readings, Cyborg confirmed. Quantum fluctuations consistent with what the Jedi call the Force, but corrupted somehow. Darker. They moved to the desk where a secured terminal sat innocuously. Cyborg extended a cable from his arm, interfacing directly. This is it. The isolated server, encrypted with, damn, this is Sith code. I've seen fragments in the Jedi archives, but this is active, functional. Pete, only a Sith could have created this security system. So we're right. Palpatine is the Sith Lord. Looks like it. Give me 5 minutes to crack this. Peter stood guard, his spider sense on high alert. The office was too quiet, too still. Something felt off, like they were walking into a trap they couldn't quite see. 4 minutes passed. Cyborg's systems worked furiously, his mother box technology clashing with Sith encryption in a digital battle that would have been impossible without his unique abilities. I'm in, Cyborg finally said. Downloading everything. Communications with Dooku, financial records, contingency plans, and... Oh no. Oh, Pete, this is bad. How bad? Order 66 is scheduled for activation in 72 hours, 3 days. The moment Palpatine gives the command, every clone trooper in the galaxy will execute their Jedi commanders. Thousands of Jedi dead in minutes. And then... Cyborg's voice caught. Then he declares the Jedi traitors, dissolves the Senate, and transforms the Republic into a Galactic Empire. It's all here. Every step, every contingency, every... The lights came on. Every trap, Palpatine's voice said from the doorway. Peter spun, his spider sense exploding with warning. The Chancellor stood there, but his appearance had changed. His kind eyes were now yellow and hateful. His grandfatherly demeanor had been replaced by something ancient and evil. The air around him crackled with dark energy. Did you really think I wouldn't know you were coming? Palpatine, no, Darth Sidious, smiled cruelly. I've been watching you since you arrived in this galaxy. 2 heroes from another universe. So noble, so predictable. You couldn't resist trying to save us all. The Jedi will know, Cyborg said, his sonic cannon charging. I've already transmitted copies of everything to Master Yoda. The evidence is out there now. Sidious laughed, the sound like breaking glass. Evidence that was gathered through illegal means by two fugitives. Evidence that could easily be fabricated by a cyborg with technopathic abilities. The Senate will believe what I tell them to believe, and I'll tell them that the Jedi sent assassins from another universe to murder me. That they're so desperate to maintain their power, they've resorted to treason. Lightning suddenly erupted from Sidious's fingers, blue-white energy that crackled with malevolent power. Peter's spider sense screamed, and he dove, pulling Cyborg with him. The Force lightning scorched the desk where they'd been standing, melting metal and stone. "You're fast," Sidious observed, advancing, "but speed means nothing against the power of the dark side." More lightning lanced out. Peter webbed a chair and hurled it to intercept the blast, buying them seconds. Cyborg fired his sonic cannon, the concentrated sound waves tearing through the air, but Sidious gestured lazily, and the Force absorbed the impact. "Useless," the Sith Lord hissed. "Your technology, your powers, they're nothing compared to millennia of Sith knowledge. You're insects, and I am a god." Peter's mind raced. They couldn't beat Sidious in a direct fight. The Sith Lord was too powerful, too skilled, and they were exhausted from days of preparation and infiltration. But they didn't need to beat him. They just needed to survive long enough to... His spider sense flared a different warning. Someone else was coming. Multiple someones. The door burst open and Mace Windu strode in, followed by 3 other Jedi Masters. Their lightsabers ignited, casting purple, green, and blue light through the office. "Chancellor Palpatine," Mace said, his voice hard as iron, "you are under arrest for crimes against the Republic." For the first time, genuine surprise crossed Sidious's features. "Master Windu, how unexpected. The Off-Worlder's transmission wasn't complete. How did you—" "We've been investigating independently," Mace interrupted. "Your mistake was assuming the Jedi were blind. We sensed the darkness in you but needed proof. These heroes provided it, but we had already begun connecting the pieces. You've lost, Sidious." The Sith Lord's expression shifted from surprise to rage. "Lost? You arrogant fool. I am the Senate. I have the power of the dark side. You are already dead. You just don't know it yet." What followed was a battle Peter would never forget. Sidious moved like lightning made flesh, his lightsaber, a red blade that seemed to drink in light, appearing in his hand as if by magic. He struck at Mace Windu with inhuman speed, their blades clashing in a shower of sparks. The other Jedi Masters moved to flank, but Sidious was everywhere at once, his connection to the Force allowing him to anticipate and counter every attack. "Pete, we need to go," Cyborg shouted, pulling him toward the window. "We can't leave them. They're Jedi Masters. They can handle themselves. We need to get this evidence to the Council, make sure it reaches the Senate." One of the Jedi Masters fell, Sidious's blade piercing his chest. Then another. The Sith Lord was too fast, too powerful. Only Mace Windu remained standing, his Veapad fighting style matching Sidious blow for blow in a deadly dance. Peter's spider sense made the choice for him. If they stayed, they'd die. If they ran, they might still complete the mission. He webbed the window and shattered it with a kick. Cyborg grabbed him and they plunged into Coruscant's night sky, jets flaring to arrest their fall. Behind them, Force lightning exploded through the Senate building, visible for kilometers. The battle between Mace Windu and Darth Sidious had reached its crescendo. They landed on a platform several levels down, both breathing hard. Cyborg's systems were flagged with warnings, his power reserves critical. Peter's webs were nearly depleted, and his body ached from the Force lightning's near miss. "Did we get it?" Peter gasped. "Did you transmit everything?" "Yes. The Council, the Senate, the press. I sent it everywhere. The truth is out there now. But..." An explosion rocked the Senate building. Through the smoke and flames, Peter saw a figure falling, Mace Windu, his body broken, plummeting toward the city depths. And standing at the shattered window, wreathed in dark side energy and triumph, was Darth Sidious. "No," Peter whispered. Sidious's voice boomed across the city, amplified by the Force and broadcast systems he'd seized control of. "Citizens of the Republic, tonight, the Jedi have revealed their true nature. Traitors who attempted to assassinate your Chancellor. Even now, they coordinate with off-world agents to destroy our democracy. I hereby activate Emergency Order 66. All Jedi are to be executed for treason." Peter's blood ran cold. The clones, the inhibitor chips, he's activating them now. "We're too late," Cyborg said, his voice hollow. "We exposed him, but he's using it, turning it around, making himself the victim. Pete, he's winning." Across Coruscant, across the galaxy, clone troopers received the order. Their inhibitor chips activated, overriding loyalty and friendship. On 1,000 worlds, Jedi were gunned down by the soldiers they'd fought beside for 3 years. The purge had begun. The transport ship shuddered as it broke atmosphere, fleeing Coruscant with half the Republic fleet in pursuit. Peter gripped the co-pilot's seat while Cyborg pushed their stolen vessel to its limits, dodging TIE fighters. Wait, not TIEs, V-Wings and ARC-170s, but they looked just as deadly. "Where are we going?" Peter shouted over the alarm klaxons. "Anywhere but here. I'm trying to calculate a hyperspace jump, but we've got 3 Star Destroyers bracketing our escape vectors." Peter's spider sense guided his hands to the controls. "Left, hard left," Cyborg banked, and a turbo laser blast passed through the space they'd occupied a second before. The ship groaned in protest but held together. Behind them, Coruscant burned. Not literally, but metaphorically, the heart of the Republic was dying, transforming into something darker. Order 66 was in full effect. Through Cyborg systems, they could hear the communications channels, reports of Jedi killed, temple assault in progress, younglings evacuated or not evacuated. Peter's stomach churned at the implications. "We have to go back," Peter said. "Those kids, the Jedi." "We can't," Cyborg's voice cracked with frustration and grief. "Pete, we exposed Palpatine. We gave them the evidence, but he was ready for it. He turned it around, made himself the victim, and now anyone who opposes him is branded a traitor. If we go back, we die, and then no one's left to fight him. Then what do we do? Survive. Find the Jedi who escaped, regroup, plan. This isn't over just because we lost this battle." A familiar voice crackled over their comm. Anakin Skywalker. "Spider-Man, Cyborg, if you're receiving this, the temple is under siege. Clone troopers everywhere. Master Windu is dead. Most of the council is dead. I'm taking Ahsoka and whatever survivors we can find and going to ground. Palpatine is... He's declared himself Emperor. The Republic is done. The Jedi Order is done. Whatever you were trying to do, it wasn't enough." The transmission cut off, but not before Peter heard the pain and betrayal in Anakin's voice. The Chosen One sounded broken. "He blames us," Peter said quietly. "Maybe he should," Cyborg replied. "We pushed for the investigation. We forced the confrontation. If we'd waited, gathered more support, been more careful, Palpatine would have activated Order 66 anyway. You saw the timeline. 3 days. We bought them 3 days of warning, and it still wasn't enough." They finally jumped to hyperspace, the pursuing ships falling away as they vanished into the safety of faster-than-light travel. But there was no relief in the escape. They'd failed. No, they'd succeeded in exposing the conspiracy, but Sidious had been too prepared, too powerful, too entrenched. He turned their victory into his triumph. "Where are we going?" Peter asked again, more quietly this time. Cyborg pulled up a star chart. "I've been monitoring Jedi emergency channels. Master Yoda is alive, heading to Dagobah. Obi-Wan survived, last seen near Mustafar. Ahsoka and Anakin are fleeing toward the Outer Rim. There are others, scattered survivors. The rebellion is already forming, Pete. People who won't accept the Empire. And us? Two guys from another universe, now branded as assassins and traitors. We do what we always do. We fight. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow, but we fight." The ship drifted through hyperspace, carrying them away from Coruscant, away from the newly declared Galactic Empire, toward an uncertain future. Days passed in a blur. They rendezvoused with Bail Organa, a senator who'd opposed Palpatine and was now organizing resistance. Through him, they made contact with surviving Jedi, Obi-Wan, Yoda, and a handful of others who'd escaped the Purge. The meeting took place on a remote asteroid in a hidden facility that smelled of oil and desperation. The Jedi looked diminished, haunted. Their order was shattered, their purpose uncertain. "Failed we did," Yoda said, his ancient voice heavy with grief. "Blinded by arrogance, the Jedi were. See the Sith Lord before our eyes, we could not." "You were manipulated," Cyborg said. "We all were." Palpatine spent years positioning himself, making himself indispensable. Even with the evidence, even with the warning, he had too much power. "And now?" Obi-Wan asked. His face looked older, worn by trauma. "The Empire controls the galaxy. The clones hunt any surviving Jedi. Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine, has unlimited power. What can we possibly do against that?" "We survive," Peter said. "We resist. We don't give up just because we lost one battle." "Yeah, things look bad. Really bad. But I've seen impossible situations before. My friends and I, we've faced cosmic threats, reality-warping villains, armies that couldn't be beaten. And you know what? We found a way. Because that's what heroes do." "Heroes," Anakin said bitterly. He stood apart from the group, his mechanical hand clenched. "We were supposed to be heroes. The Jedi, the guardians of peace. But we became generals, warriors, everything we swore we wouldn't be. And for what? So Palpatine could use us as tools until he didn't need us anymore." "Skywalker," Obi-Wan said gently. "You can't blame yourself." "Why not? I was his apprentice. I spent years talking with him, learning from him, and I never saw what he was. The chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. What a joke." Peter stood and walked over to Anakin. His spider sense had stopped buzzing around the young Jedi, not because the danger was gone, but because Peter understood it now. Anakin stood at a crossroads, grief and anger pulling him toward darkness. "Listen to me," Peter said, looking the taller man in the eye. "I get it. You feel like you failed, like you should have known, should have done more. I live with that feeling every day. Every person I don't save, every fight I don't win, it eats at me. But you know what I learned? The guilt, the anger, the need for revenge. They don't make you stronger. They make you sloppy. They make you into the thing you're fighting against." "What would you know about it?" Anakin shot back. "You're not even from this galaxy. You don't understand what we've lost." "You're right. I don't. But I understand loss. I've lost people I loved. I've failed when it mattered most. And I've learned that the way forward isn't through darkness. It's through holding on to who you are, what you believe in, even when everything's falling apart." Something in Anakin's expression shifted. The anger didn't disappear, but it softened. "How? How do you hold on when everything you fought for is gone? You remember why you fought in the first place?" to protect people, to make things better. That doesn't change just because the Republic fell. There are still people who need protecting, still injustice that needs fighting. The name of the government doesn't matter. Your purpose does. Ahsoka stepped forward, placing a hand on Anakin's arm. Master, Peter's right. The Jedi Order might be gone, but what we believed in isn't. We can still make a difference. We can still help people. Slowly, Anakin nodded. The darkness Peter had sensed didn't disappear. It probably never would, but it retreated. For now. So what's the plan? Anakin asked, turning to the group. We can't fight the Empire head-on. Palpatine has the entire clone army, the Senate, the military infrastructure of the Republic. Then we don't fight head-on, Cyborg said. We go underground, build a network of resistance cells, help people escape the Empire's persecution, gather allies, resources, intelligence, plant the seeds of rebellion that will eventually grow into something strong enough to challenge Palpatine. A long game, Bail Organa said, stroking his beard. It could take years, decades even. Then it takes decades, Peter said. We don't quit just because it's hard. Yoda's ears perked up, and for the first time since they'd arrived, the ancient Jedi Master smiled. Wisdom beyond your years you show. From another universe you may be, but heroes of this galaxy you have become. Perhaps the Force brought you here for this purpose, to remind us that even in darkness, hope remains. We still need to find a way home, Cyborg said. Eventually. Our universes need us too. But until then, Peter added, we're here, and we're not going to stand by while an evil empire takes over. That's not who we are. Obi-Wan stepped forward, extending his hand. Then we're honored to fight beside you, both of you. You risked everything to expose the conspiracy. Many Jedi survived because of your warning, even if we couldn't stop Order 66 entirely. That counts for something. Peter shook his hand and Cyborg did the same. They were building something here, an alliance of survivors, a coalition of resistance, the spark that would eventually become the rebellion. But before they could plan further, alarms began blaring through the facility. Imperial ships dropping out of hyperspace, a technician shouted. Multiple star destroyers. They found us. How? Bail demanded. This location was secure. Doesn't matter, Anakin said, his lightsaber already in hand. We need to evacuate. Now. They ran for the hangar where their ships waited. Behind them, the facility shook as turbo laser fire began raining down. Clone troopers. No, they were called stormtroopers now. Their armor, repainted white and intimidating, began breaching the perimeter. We'll hold them off, Obi-Wan said, positioning himself with a group of Jedi survivors. Get the civilians out. The rebellion needs leaders more than warriors right now. Master, Anakin started. Go! That's an order, Skywalker. Take care of Ahsoka. Take care of our friends from another universe. May the Force be with you. There was no time to argue. They ran for their ship, the same battered transport they'd escaped Coruscant in. Peter's spider sense was screaming as stormtroopers flooded the hangar, blaster fire filling the air. Cover me, Cyborg shouted, interfacing with the ship's systems to accelerate the startup sequence. Peter swung into action, his webs disarming stormtroopers, pulling them off balance, creating barriers. Anakin and Ahsoka deflected blaster bolts, their lightsabers blurs of blue and green. It was chaos, desperate and brutal. The ship's engines roared to life. Everyone on board, now! They scrambled up the ramp and Cyborg launched before it had fully closed. The transport screamed out of the hangar, pursued by TIE fighters, actual TIE fighters this time, the new Empire's signature craft. Behind them, the asteroid facility exploded in a brilliant flash. Peter's heart sank. Obi-Wan. The other Jedi who'd stayed to cover their escape. Gone. Sacrificed so the rebellion could survive its first day. Jump to hyperspace, Anakin said quietly. Coordinates are in the Navy computer. We're meeting the others at a safe world. As they jumped away from the carnage, Peter looked around the cramped ship. Anakin sat with his head in his hands. Ahsoka leaned against the wall, her expression numb with shock. Bail Organa was already on his comm, coordinating with other survivors, trying to salvage something from the disaster. And Cyborg. Victor looked at Peter with exhaustion and determination in equal measure. We're really doing this, Victor said. We're part of a rebellion against an evil Galactic Empire. Looks like it, Peter replied. So much for finding a quick way home. Would you leave, even if we could? Peter thought about it, about his world, his life, Aunt May and MJ, and all his responsibilities back home. But he also thought about the people here, Anakin, Ahsoka, the survivors, the trillions who would suffer under Imperial rule. Could he abandon them? No, he admitted. Not until we finish this. Not until we make sure the galaxy has a chance to be free again. Cyborg nodded. Then we've got work to do. Anakin looked up, meeting Peter's gaze. Thank you. For everything. For trying to stop this. For saving who you could. For reminding me why we fight. That's what heroes do, Peter said. We show up. We try. And even when we fail, we keep trying. The ship hurtled through hyperspace toward an uncertain future. The Empire was rising. The Jedi were scattered. The galaxy was entering its darkest age. But in that darkness, a spark of rebellion had been lit, and two heroes from another universe had become guardians of hope in a galaxy that desperately needed it. The war wasn't over. It was only beginning. The rebellion would grow slowly over the years that followed. Peter Parker and Victor Stone became legends whispered about in Imperial-occupied worlds. The Spider Knight and the Chrome Warrior, freedom fighters who struck from the shadows and vanished like ghosts. They trained resistance cells, rescued Force-sensitive children from Inquisitors, and sabotaged Imperial operations across the Outer Rim. Anakin Skywalker never fell to the dark side. The warning Peter had given him, the purpose Cyborg had helped him rediscover, kept him anchored to the light even as grief and anger threatened to consume him. He and Ahsoka became leaders in the growing rebellion, symbols of Jedi who refused to surrender. Yoda went into hiding on Dagobah, but not before teaching Peter and Cyborg what he could about the Force. They would never be Jedi. But they learned to sense its presence, to understand the balance between light and dark. It made them better heroes. Emperor Palpatine ruled his new empire with an iron fist, but his victory was incomplete. The rebellion he'd inadvertently helped create by activating Order 66 too early, before he'd fully consolidated power, became a thorn in his side. And the two off-worlders who'd exposed his conspiracy, who'd warned the Jedi and given them a chance to survive, haunted him. They were variables he hadn't accounted for, pieces that didn't fit his grand design. He would hunt them. They would evade him. The dance would continue for years, maybe decades. But Palpatine had learned a valuable lesson. Even the most perfect plan could be disrupted by heroes who refused to play by the rules. As for Peter and Cyborg, they never found their way home. Cyborg's mother box, damaged in the original transition, couldn't generate a stable portal back to their universe. They were stranded, possibly forever, in a galaxy far, far away. But they didn't despair, because wherever they were, whatever universe they called home, their purpose remained the same. Protect the innocent, fight for justice, and never give up hope, even in the darkest times. The Empire had risen, but so had the rebellion. And at its heart, two heroes from another world stood ready to face whatever came next. They had saved what they could and destroyed the illusion of Palpatine's perfect victory. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the Force, a balance had shifted. Not the balance Palpatine had sought to tip toward darkness, nor the rigid balance the Jedi had tried to maintain, but something new, something unexpected. The balance of hope against despair, of resistance against tyranny, of heroes who refuse to let evil win. May the Force be with them. May it be with all who fight for freedom. The story of Spider-Man and Cyborg in the Star Wars galaxy had only just begun, and the echoes of their choices would ripple across the stars for generations to come. May the Force be with you. More stories await.